wanted to take the opportunity to take a risk and do something very different.
This is one of those things where people knew this was going to be something special. People wanted to be part of it.
It was the sort of job where you'd be a fool not to give absolutely everything you have to it, because it's the sort of material that can take it.
Doing this live is going to change the way musical movies are made forevermore.
That's exciting. That's what you live for.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And it feels incredibly special to be a part of that.
There's an epic level to this. You just have to see this movie in the theatre.
It has that breadth of strength, of passion and characters in it.
It's a show about passion that has a really passionate fan base, but the people that are making the movie are equally passionate.
I can't wait for the audience to go on the journey of Les Miserables. It was the hardest movie to cast that I've ever done and will ever do, because you have to find that perfect storm of actors who can sing and act.
It's a real actor-singers show, that you don't have to be a great dancer. It's not about showbiz, it's about storytelling. It's amazing parts.
I wanted to find those actors who, when they sung, you felt in your heart it was their first choice method of communication.
The minute we decided we were going to do it, it was like a talent magnet. I mean, everybody wanted to be in it.
Every man and his dog went for this film. Everyone wanted. I've never heard my agent more excited about a film.
Every Hollywood actor at some point probably was in a musical of some description, so everyone sort of came out the closets with these singing voices.
There were probably two requirements for doing it. One was everyone signing up to the idea of singing live. The second was Hugh Jackman existing, because I think if Hugh Jackman didn't exist, I wouldn't have made this film.
Once I knew I had the part, I had created last year a one-man show for myself, so I decided to do a 3-month run on Broadway from October through to Christmas, because I figured 2.5 hours a night, 8 shows a week was going to be the kind of training I'd need to do this. It really has held me in good stead.
Through all the performances he's been doing on Broadway, the range of his voice has developed considerably.
Look down, don't look in the eye.
I've never felt a role that will require or does require more of me in a concentrated period. All the things I've done leading up to this, whether it be the stage work or the film work, I feel are coming together for this role in this movie.
Retrieve the flag.
Hugh Jackman from early on said, when I'm a convict, I want to shave my head and I want to lose as much weight as I possibly can while keeping the strength that I would have if I was doing manual labour as a convict. And the regime he put himself under to get to this extraordinary place where he, you know, had no fat on him but was still strong. None of this I required him to do. He wanted to do it.
It was important to tell the story that he'd been a prisoner for 19 years, so, you know, there was no bread and butter pudding going around. There was very limited food. He was also known for his strength, so I was in the gym 3 hours a day. Then once that had finished, it was heaven. I got to eat.
That was 2 sets. Imagine 19 years of them.
Valjean is a fascinating character because he constantly is striving to be a better person, to live up to what he thinks God wants from him, what God deserves. Who am I? And constantly underneath it all feeling like he's falling short.
Who am I? I'm Jean Valjean.
I think that's something that all of us can relate to.
That's unbelievable.
Hugh's spirit is so special that you understand the spirituality of Jean Valjean. I don't think if you didn't have it inside you, it could ever be convincingly acted.
Never liked you then.
He is just the most brilliant singer and leader, and he is amazing.
The minute he said yes to doing this, it's been a great ride because he just brings so much to everything.
Having Hugh lead has made everyone up their game.
It's been a rock for everybody around him, all the people that have come to the gig that have been nervous or whatever. And, you know, it wasn't exactly that he was hiding his nerves, but he has been very emotionally constant.
Can this be true? I don't believe what I see. A man your age, to be as strong as you are.
I couldn't believe my luck to discover that one of the biggest movie stars on the planet and one of the world's great actors was a passionate musical man with a background in it and a fantastic voice.
I had seen him just as he was starting his career doing musicals in Australia. I always did remember that his first love was musical theatre.
You make me think of a man from years ago, a man who broke his parole. He disappeared.
It just became one of those things where once it was on my radar scope, it was just something that I just really wanted to do, you know, and I wanted to spend that time with music in my life.
I really loved Getting Arrested by Russell Crowe. That was the first time I really saw his Javert, and it just chills everywhere. And I was like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be really upset right now, but God, he's good.
I have heard such protestations every day for 20 years. Let's have no more explanations. Save your breath, save your tears.
I've tried to make his confusion a little wider, a little deeper, and tried to make his conclusion come from a different place.
For Annie Hathaway, I mean, this is an extraordinary dream story. Her mother was the stand-in for Fontaine on the American tour.
Anne grew up on Les Miserables. Her mother was in the first national company for me. She was brought up in the dressing room.
When I auditioned Annie in New York, I knew how much it meant to her, and of course I tried not to be swayed by it because it had to be about the performance.
We've got to pay away at the end of the day.
Luckily, the performance showed the years of yearning in a way.
Yes, it's true, there's a child, and the child is my daughter. And her father abandoned us, leaving us flat. Now she lives with an innkeeper man and his wife, and I pay for the child. What's the matter with that?
Fontaine, she really is the most miserable. And there's something about the depth of her suffering that gives life to the love that you experience in the rest of the film. She lives in a cruel world that breaks her down. And by the end, the only way that she can survive is, I'm sorry, it gets me emotional. The only way that she can survive is to turn her heart to stone, which is torture for her. And it's really unfair. She hasn't done anything to anyone. It's just the way it is.
What can I do? It pays a debt. 10 francs may save my poor corset.
She wanted to get her hair cut for real in a lovely lady scene, which again I was amazed at.
Well, it's never an option in the stage show. Anytime you are given something that allows you to go deeper inside of a character, get closer to them, mesh with them, it's a gift.
She had the idea that she wanted to lose weight for the death of Fontaine and make that much more real. I would never require an actor to lose weight, but she wanted to do it.
Over the course of 5 weeks, I lost 25 pounds. And I lost 15 of those pounds in the last 2 weeks. So it was very intense and very extreme. And to be honest, if I'd stopped and really thought about what I was doing, it probably would have felt too hard. Any kind of suffering that I was going through, I wouldn't feel it as suffering. I would have felt it as she would, which was instant transformation.
'Cause at its turn so cold. 'Cause at its past your bedtime.
Les Miserables is unusual in that halfway through the movie, you double your cast size. You introduce these new heroes who you've never met before. That switch should feel exciting. The key was, I think, about casting. I searched long and wide for my Cosette, and Amanda, she has that amazing ability to command both disciplines, who can sing and act.
This change. Can people really fall in love so fast?
This is a musical that she grew up with, and she wanted this part more than anything, and it was incredibly emotional, you know.
In the novel of Les Mis, Cosette is always described as this lark, and that's what her voice is like. It's almost like a bird. It just sort of floats.
In my life, there are so many questions and answers that somehow seem wrong.
Cosette is the main source of light and hope and love, true love in this story. She's choosing between her father, the only man she's ever known, and this man who's completely taken her over, her heart over. It's absolutely true love, and she knows, you know, with all her heart, this is who she's going to spend the rest of her life with.
Samantha is a really, really great actress and is going to surprise a lot of people in this depth that she brings to Cosette.
She was just like a ghost to me. 1 minute there, then she was gone.
Eddie was my dream casting, but I never would have necessarily assumed he could sing at this level, and he's turned out to be fantastic.
Had you been there the day, you might also have known. How the world may be changed in just one burst of light, and what was right seems wrong, and what was wrong seems right.
Getting the part was about proving to Claude Michel and Cameron that I had the potential vocally to be able to deliver what it needed. It's the second you got the part, there was great excitement. And then there's the sort of sick punch in the stomach reality that you've actually got to play those parts or sing those songs.
His voice is so strong. He's got this like crazy falsetto that's so strong, which means he can sing so high, but yet so soft. Effortless.
I am lost. A hard
I think 5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, it would have been very difficult to cast this film. And we just happened to hit a moment in time where there is a group of great actors and also of really, really good singers. And that's the cast we see before us today.
Every announcement they made, starting with Russell or Anne, Amanda, Eddie, every announcement that came, I was like, yes, yes. It was amazing to me.
We all are bringing something different to the table, and I do feel like it is kind of the perfect cast.
I was incredibly impressed at how much effort and care went into the preparation of these actors and how much they thought about how the medium should work and how they instinctively understood the intimacy of singing on film as opposed to singing on the stage and what that meant for their performances. The actors are kind of evangelical about this project in a way almost more than anything I can ever remember. I mean, it's very, very special.
There is wine here to revive you. There is bread to make you strong. There's a bed to rest till morning. Rest from pain and rest from wrong.
At the time we were casting the show back in 1984, there was a man who'd done very little acting and was an extraordinary presence. He was a session singer called Colin Wilkinson, who just was Jean Valjean. The moment he picked up the score and the voice came out, you felt the hand of God was on the piece of casting.
He is the original Valjean, beloved by millions of people the world over. And it was really important to us to bring the spirit of the show in any way we could to the film.
He created this role. He also created a way of singing that really tenors have been copying now ever since, for the last 25 years.
The first meeting between Hugh Jackman and Cohen was something very emotional, because Hugh was facing the guy who was the first Jean Valjean. And as a matter of fact, I wrote Bringing Home for Colin Wilkinson.
One of the first scenes that we did was between Valjean and the bishop.
Please, sit.
There was an immediate connection. I think everybody felt really sort of moved by it.
Bless our dear sister and our honored guest. Please, eat.
The bishop to me is a huge sort of role in as much that he's the guy who redeems him, saves his soul for God, gives him the candlesticks and sets him on the right path.
Monsieur, release him. This man has spoken true.
It is the voice of God through this story which guides and changes the life of Jean Valjean.
You must use this precious silver to become an honest man.
One of the great things Colm said to me, he pulled me aside after the first day of work. He said, "Man, if there's anything you want to pick my brain about, ask me about." And I said, "There's a couple of bits." And he just stopped me. He goes, "Hugh, I did not do what was originally written. I made it my own. I had my reasons for doing it, and because that was the first, nobody knew. You have to make this your own. And I felt like, okay, well, that's officially the baton being carried over.
Everybody has a unique talent and everybody has a unique thing that they will bring to this role. Hugh will do it in his way. He'll sing it in his way. If you look at Hugh and his work ethic and the way he goes about what he does, he's so thorough and so intense. It'll be very emotional.
Sam Barks, who plays Eponine, she's a trained theatrical singer.
I first came across her when I was with Andrew Lloyd Webber, and we did this television series which ended up with 4 finalists, of which Sam was one of the top 4 finalists.
I then went on tour and played Sally Bowles in Cabaret and, then started working.
I wanted to try her out for the role of Eponine. I thought she'd be really a terrific Eponine for the stage show.
And it was the right time, I think, for me to audition for Eponine. And it was a character that I just felt that I had this, burning desire to play.
Tom came to see one of the O2 performances because we had started to talk about the film. And from the very outset, despite everyone else in Hollywood throwing their hat in the ring, she was always someone that we wanted very much to consider.
I then started playing Nancy and Oliver, which obviously is full circle where it all started, and working with Cameron again. And so I was taking my bow in Oliver, and he walks on stage.
I gave her the role of Eponine in London, and then, of course, at the O2 for that amazing concert for the 25th anniversary. And now our director, Tom Hooper, has chosen her for the movie.
Speechless. And sometimes I look back and I go, that was the moment, bang, right there, your moment, your life just changed forever.
It was a wonderful thing to walk down there and, hear the snivels of delight from the chorus and the company behind.
It was all his idea. He was like, I'm going to go up and surprise her, and it was so theatrical and amazing, and it's just such a fantastic moment, of my life.
It couldn't happen to a nicer or more talented girl.
I just feel so close to this character, so to have travelled so far with her now, she's a beautifully written character, and it's a joy to play her. So all of a sudden, changing your performance from hitting the back of the stalls to singing right here, you just have to trust yourself.
She understands the difference between acting on a stage, singing on a stage, and singing for a movie.
We had so many gods and goddesses of the West End come in on this job.
I've been in the show once about 10 years ago when I played the role of Eponine, and now 10 years later I'm playing the role of Fantine. I think Annie's doing a wonderful job of Fantine. She's getting so many beautiful nuances to the character. And she just said to me, it's nice to be part of the Fantine club, so we're both in the club together.